To the second headline, stumbling PM seismic nuke scare tactic. Will it work? Anthony Albanese has suggested residents in the New South Wales Hunter Valley would be in danger under the coalition's energy policy, declaring a major earthquake in the region more than 30 years ago showed it was the last place a nuclear reactor should be built. He said our opponents need to find $600 billion to pay for their nuclear reactors. I was in Young Labor at the time when that earthquake devastated this community. This is the last place you put a nuclear reactor. There will be no nuclear under a government I lead, says Anthony Albanese in the Hunter Valley. Do you think that people in the Hunter are actually worried about that?
Probably. I think people in the Hunter are worried about where jobs come from, and they understand energy jobs more than probably anyone else in the country,
Indeed.
to be perfectly honest. But it's almost as though he's talking about this as though if it got to the stage where we were seriously looking at building nuclear plants, that you wouldn't have to go to the nth degree to shore all of this stuff up in order to happen. Well, we just wake up one day, just bloody plonk it there, no environmental studies to be done, all good.
So the modern nuclear reactors, I think the Fukushima reactors, there was an issue obviously with the earthquake in Japan, but that's because they were built decades and decades and decades ago. They're very old.
And also wasn't being maintained.
My understanding is that all the ones that are built now are earthquake proof, and they have the reactors kind of, I believe they actually have them floating in water. So even if outside around them kind of shakes and everything, it doesn't impact the actual reactor itself because it's sort of floating there. I'm not a nuclear scientist, as you know. But I remember when the Fukushima stuff happened and everyone was saying, this is why we can't have nuclear. There were all these experts coming out saying, oh, no, the modern ones are totally fine. But seismic activity in the Hunter is a real concern because, as you can see by the photo that they ran with that particular story, there was an incredibly localised earthquake just underneath the Prime Minister's feet as he finished giving a speech.
We'll show you that vision a little later in the program. It would have been a bigger earthquake though if he hadn't lost all that weight a few years ago. You know,
he's looking great.
I do feel mean picking on someone for tripping over. Who doesn't?
I'm not picking on him. I'm not picking on him. Remember, John Howard tripped over.
You brought it up, Joe.
John Howard tripped over, I think, in 1996 and won about 20 seats. So.
I know, but of course, at the time, they made it out like this was the end of the campaign. He's fallen over and the campaign's fallen over.
And then he got all the pity votes because Aussies love an underdog.
I don't know that we've seen that about it.
Why do we fall down, Master Bruce? So we can learn to pick ourselves up again. Yes, that's right. Anthony Albanese is Batman. Anyway, let's go to the mighty Daily Telegraph, and an absolute cracker of a yarn on the front page, speaking of which. Anything Ute can do, get it? I can do better. Rivals duel over Western Sydney tradies. Tradies and other small businesses will be promised an instant $20,000 asset write-off by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese at today's Future Western Sydney event at Blacktown, which I will be going to. Thank you very much. I'll see both Albo and Duddo there. Cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. But his pledge falls short of the $30,000 permanent instant write-off pledge by opposition leader Peter Dutton, who will today also unveil an extra $200 million in Western Sydney road funding. So it's great. We've got a bidding war over who's going to do more from Western Sydney, which is exactly the point of these forums we have, which is the future Western Sydney thing, which is in Blacktown, I think, as I mentioned, and it's going to be a massive event. Albo and Dutton are both going to be delivering a speech, and if that doesn't float your boat, I will also be speaking in conversation.
Incredible.
Conversation with James tomorrow.
I am convinced.
If there's already an offer on the table and then you're like, we'll get 2/3 of the way there, is it really an impressive thing? I mean, Scott Morrison did 20 grand instant asset write-off back in 2019, and then in 2020, amid COVID, he made it 25 grand. So Dutton's upping that to 30 and saying he'll make it permanent. And Albo comes in and says, I'll do what ScoMo did 6 years ago.
Well, he's matching it.
The other guy's given us more. Obviously, votes don't come cheap, and whoever's aware of these announcements, which is always my biggest thing, I don't know how much attention people are actually paying, that's going to cinch their deal. If that is you, if you are a tradie in Western Sydney, Dutton just got your Dutton just got your vote.
There's obviously the whole package of stuff. Like, Albo's also doing free TAFE for everybody. So tradies and builders and stuff who have got an apprentice shortage are going to be looking at that going, actually, maybe that might be better for us. But it's great to see that they're
remember
both...
we had Tony's tradies. That was Tony Abbott's thing. What are we going to have? Albo's artisans?
We had Howard Battler's Tony's tradies and Albo's awesome Air Tasker army.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that one quite rings in the air so well, does it? Let's go to the Gold Coast Bulletin tomorrow. Interesting story here. Mayor calls for bed tax on tourists. You snooze, you lose, says the Gold Coast Bully. Mayor Tom Tate wants a bed tax imposed on visitors to the Gold Coast, saying it is needed to pay for tourist infrastructure. However, a hotels boss blasted the idea as a self-defeating tariff. I'm wondering whether he's just looked over to the US and gone, this tax business, let's just have a tax on it.
I'll have me some of that.
Why would you...
It's Gold Coast Liberation Day.
But why would you voluntarily make it more expensive for a tourist to come to your region? I don't get it.
No, and obviously everyone who's going to be copying the effects of this is like, excuse me, what? Also, since when does a mayor impose these kinds of things? When we think of these extra taxes, it's usually the feds or the state governments. Now we've got a mayor weighing in being like, oh, as a local government, we've decided. No, it just doesn't make sense, especially given, of course, Gold Coast is most known for its massive tourist attractions. So I don't think he's made anyone in his constituency happy with this announcement.
The meter maids, maybe? And they have to pay bed tax.